Hi, my name is Mikko Kempe and I'm sitting here in the beautiful Stinson Beach in California, close to San Francisco. And today I'm going to give you a dating tip number one, and it's particularly for successful and confident guys. Because see, what happens is we take our date into a nice restaurant or coffee shop, and what often happens is this. The more the woman you took out into a date is actually initially attracted to you, the more she will tend to start asking all kind of questions from you and show genuine interest in you. And the trap we guys get into often is we start thinking about these questions way too hard, and we start thinking all the ways that we could possibly impress her by giving these great answers. And what we don't realize is we may be unknowingly turning her off. And I remember certainly when I started dating and I was a successful basketball player, although I was a little shy and I didn't know much to say, this woman started to ask all kind of questions from me, and I started giving all these great answers, and next thing I know 30 minutes had gone past, and all I realized what a great interesting guy I was, and I didn't even realize, or I was just thinking, gosh, she's kind of boring, and I didn't even realize I had unknowingly just turned her off by just bragging about and talking about myself. And it wasn't until later I realized that the most important thing you can do is to show genuine interest in her by asking all kind of questions about her family, where she's from, about her hobbies. Mostly talk about things that just doesn't have much stress related, like don't talk about her work or ask questions about her work or school or whatever. And by realizing this little insight, you will impress her so much more, and you will actually also appear much more confident in her eyes than if you were just talking about yourself, bragging about yourself or whatever. Because I'll give you one more little insight why this happens, because you may be wondering, well, why isn't she just stop asking questions from me and talking about herself instead? Because a lot of times ladies can feel kind of guilty just talking about herself, because for number one, they really feel good about talking about themselves, because it's a very potent way of coping with stress. But beside that, when you take two girlfriends out into a date and they just go into a coffee shop and they start talking, the way that the other person is hinting often to the other girl to stop talking and showing interest in her is by asking more questions. So for us guys, this often doesn't make any sense whatsoever. So we are sitting here in a restaurant talking to her, thinking that if we give these great answers, that's the way to impress her. But by realizing this little insight is, instead of talking about yourself, always ask way more questions about her and show interest in her, and you will impress her much more. So I hope you have enjoyed this first tip, and I hope you will come back and check my other tips as well.